Well, thanks everyone for registering and joining in on this webinar where we're covering off the topic of running cost plus jobs like a champ. I'm David Falconer, the General Manager and co-founder of Next Minute, and have a specific focus on working with bookkeepers and accounting professionals, really working alongside their clients to help them help their trades and construction clients work digitally smarter. Prior to Next Minute, I spent over 15 years working in a SaaS business, which was primarily targeted at the enterprise or corporate space. What I found is that the general processes and business drivers are very similar between these large corporate engines and the smaller to medium-sized enterprises. Got profit and loss, productivity, sales, dealing with staff. So what I found is that the building and trade industry has been far more intimate and rewarding experience for me, as I get to track and hear the benefits of helping them out through that process of adopting technology. The real key that I discovered is improving just one part of that business can be a huge first step into improving the rest of the business. In the building and trades industry, the opportunity to provide the level of support is huge. There are so many who are still so far behind the adoption rate, so therefore there's a big opportunity for us to all help out. Often this is something to do with lack of confidence, don't have enough time, or any excuses like that. So that's really what's inspired this whole session, because I don't believe it has to be that hard to run cost plus jobs like a champ. There really is no excuse. Now look, I'm really fortunate to have today Tim Hootman, who has joined us. He's going to provide his specific view on the topic, and mainly from a bookkeeper and business advisor perspective. So welcome, Tim, and why don't you provide us a little bit of background as to why you're involved in this particular session?
Thanks, Dave. Always great to be on a session with you. I love hearing you speak, and I love hearing how passionate you are about Next Minute and about technology within the building and construction industry. And I think certainly within that industry, it's ripe for change, ripe for disruption, ripe for really good technologies to step in and really help them change their business. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Tim Hootman. I ran a bookkeeping business for 10 years. And so technology and small business and helping people become the best they possibly can in their business, in a lot of cases through streamlining and automation and technology, is something I'm passionate about. What I do now is I help small business owners achieve those goals. I do some coaching. I'm also a speaker for Beyond Blue. And earlier this year, I was invited to join the board of Next Minute. And I was pretty stoked about that. And what I love about that is I actually love helping Dave and the other team members step into the Australian market and really excel in showing their software. It's a great piece of software, and I know you're going to enjoy today's session. Thanks.
Brilliant, brilliant. So just a little bit of housekeeping to kick us off is we're going to attach, well, I've already attached a handout, so you can go in there and grab that at the end of the session if you like. That's got some helpful next steps and some links to some really helpful resources to make sure that you can have some good takeaways from this session. In addition to that, we've got a Next Minute panelist who will be sitting alongside, and we really want your questions to come in. We'll do our best to answer those as we go through the session, but it may well be that we cover off a few at the end. And then beyond that, we can always try and get back in contact with you to answer any specific questions, and that's in that handout sheet. In addition, this is going to be recorded, so you can always get a copy of this later on. So sit back and relax, and we're going to kick into this. So firstly, what is Next Minute? So I thought I'd just start here. Next Minute is a job management app which has been specifically designed for builders and trades. It's a cloud-based application, and it's got a desktop and mobile version. And in that mobile version, it's for both iOS and Android. It's really easy to use and aims to remove those paper-based systems and enhance those common processes that already exist inside these businesses. We have connected seamlessly with both Xero and MYOB, and that's for Account Write Essentials. And at the real heart of what we're trying to do here is to help our customers run better businesses so that they can save time and ultimately make more money. So Tim, Now, how do you see NextMint fit into the bookkeeper and advisor community, and what does it mean for them?
What I think it really means for them is simplicity, accuracy, and the ability to work with your clients in this industry much more in a much more seamless and automated way. And the thing that I think is the most, and that you'll come to later, the most important part is how it connects through to accounting software. I know you'll talk about that later. And so I think for everybody, if you've got clients out there and they're floundering and you're not sure what to do, then I would certainly recommend that you give NextMint a try and get underway and give it a go.
Brilliant, thanks for that. Now, I think we'll just kick straight into it here. And the heart of this is running Cost Plus like a champ. But when I started this, I was like, well, I think a lot of people are kind of doing this as a chump. And I don't mean to say that in a mean way, but I guess what I've got to is basically these Cost Plus jobs, you can call them time and material jobs, or some people call them charge up jobs. They're really common in the residential building and construction projects. Customers like them because it provides them lots of flexibility if they're doing a new build or renovation, and allows them to have flexibility on those changes as things turn up. And it also gives them that transparency of the costs as they arise. Now, for the builder, it's a lower risk proposition to a fixed price job, specifically for those more complex renovation or new build jobs where there's a bit of uncertainty. So the client is only charged for the hours that are progressed along the way and the materials that are consumed, plus a markup. And so what this means is it's a really nice way to track and manage these jobs, and it's a really tangible way for both the customer and the builder to get a mutual beneficial outcome. That being said, however, many builders and trades really don't have a good grasp on how these different elements come together. And I think that's a real shame, because what that leads to is lower profits or margins on these jobs. And when we strip it right back, there's only really 4 components. And again, these aren't new things. There's labor costs, which are those timesheets flying around. There's material costs, which are coming in on all the different jobs, all those bills. Subcontractors and all of the costs that they're trying to fire through. And then there's all those little sort of disbursement type costs, you know, whether it's a meal or catching a ferry. And what I find happens is over time, when these things aren't managed well, they build up and build up and build up. And before too long, the corners get cut, small things get missed, and ultimately that's when people get stressed because their margins are lower. The clients are asking for more details, show me your timesheets, and really that's just not a great place to be, and it doesn't have to be like this. So Tim, from your experience, when businesses don't have control of this, what does that mean from I guess a well-being perspective, and and what can we do about it?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think if you think about running a business, it's incredibly exciting, but it's also incredibly challenging. I really like the idea of, we all want to be a champ, but in this case, sometimes we can be a bit of a chump, and that can apply to any of us in any business. So I like that analogy without it being rude to individuals. There are a lot of pressures on us. There are a lot of stress. We've got to, we're looking to ensure that our profitability is right. We've got to take care of our teams. All of those things come into play. And often if the pressure's too great, it has a high impact on us as individuals and our mental health. And I think one of the interesting things that I found over the years is the more organized, the more streamlined, the more control I had, and the better I felt about myself, about my business, and about people around me. So if you think your analogy again around being a chump, and I can see that photo you've got there of, it's quite a messy environment. How much information is being missed there, and how stressful is that sitting in that environment? So I think the more that it's automated, the more it's streamlined, the better off they'll be. And I think also, if you think about the last 9 months, we've been challenged beyond belief. So when those things are happening at us, if our business is better organized, I think it puts us in great stead. So,
yeah. And look, and I guess so that's really putting a fine point on the problem. So I guess the question is then, how do we fix it? And I recently was catching up with a local builder who's a client of Next Minute, and I was literally on a Friday afternoon going around there, and yes, I was having a beer with him that afternoon. It was a sunny, nice day, and one of his workers came across, and we were just standing there, and I was talking to him about Next Minute and what it means and how it works. And one of his builders came across and literally wheeled across this barbecue, did a quick cursory check, is it clean enough, not too many cockroaches, checked under the hood and put the gas on, put some sausages on the grill, and next you know, we had sausage bread and tomato. And it kind of hit me right then and there that there's these really simple parts to getting this cost plus stuff set up. And so what I've decided to do today is really step through this like it's a really basic recipe. Sausages on bread with sauce. Oh, look, I personally love it. It's really simple and really hearty. But if you think about it, an invoice for a cost plus job is your labor, the bread, your materials, the sausages, your markup, the sauce. If you can deliver that quickly and accurately, you're going to improve your throughput of getting paid on time and having a bit more time on your hands to do the nicer things. So what are the ingredients to this then? They're really simple. And I guess what I wanted to show you today is both an overview of what these elements are, and then of course I'm going to do the biggest no-no ever, which is to run live demo in between these. So forgive me if I have a little few stumble blocks along the way, but what I want to show you is it is actually really easy. So I'm putting myself out there to show you that this can be done, and this can be done by anyone. And so the simple ingredients, as we talked about, is you really need to have, you know, the right tool in place, which is Next Minute, clearly. Getting your integration set up so you can connect through your contacts and plug in your accounts, load in all your jobs, invite your staff, get your labor rates and markups done, get an invoice template. That's literally all it is. And that's the very first part to running cost plus like a champ. So I'm now going to go and bring up this, which is a version of Next Minute, and I'm going to run you through those setup, all those ingredient items on the fly to show you just how quick and easy it is to get this done. Okay, so firstly,
Dave, you did that with one go.
I did do a little bit of practice, to be fair, to be perfectly fair. I did a little bit of practice.
Well done.
So the first thing is around connecting, and look, it's not that hard, and that's why I'm perfectly comfortable to do this. So the very first thing that we want to do is start a trial or get set up inside Next Minute, which is, we've got a version here. And then the next step is to go and connect with your accounting provider. So it's literally as easy as coming to accounting, selecting the accounting provider that you want to use. In this case here, I'm using Xero for the New Zealand instance. And what that does is that then connects in, and literally all you do, and this is a one-off exercise, is you come through and you pick the different options that you would like set up, which account the invoices go to, you know, where the bills are going, what the invoice numbers are going to be derived from. And once you've gone through that, you hit save, and you've now gone and connected Next Minute through into, in this case here, your Xero account. And so life's going to start to get a whole lot better for me inside here right now, because I can now start to do things. So that's step one. Step two, go and create some jobs. Now, within Next Minute, when I'm talking about a job, it really can just be the shell of a job, just enough so that's a place where we can accrue all these charges so that we can then mark them up and get them invoiced out. So to create a job, it's as simple as clicking add, and you can put in a name of something like, I've got a new sleep out. Okay, you can put in some dates. Very simple and easy to do. And you can do this later if you want. Assign the type of job it is. So this is a new build. Pricing type, this is key. I'm going to do cost plus like a champ. Here we go. And then you can assign a customer to it. If you know the customer right then and there. In this case here, it's the Goblin customer, and I can hit save. Now, I have now gone and created on the fly a new job which I can now start to layer information against. That's how quick and easy it is. So that's our job. So for every job that you want to be running, you can go and add those in. And if once you've finished with those jobs, you can always archive them away. If you make a mistake, it's really easy just to remove them. Cool, so we've got our jobs in there. That's excellent. Next thing we need are some people to come in and do the work, do the timesheeting. So you literally come into admin, come up to users, and this is where you can see anyone who's currently assigned into the software, anyone who's recently been invited, and this is where you can invite some new users in. Not sure whether I should be inviting in my wife, but I will. We'll see if she wants to do some work on this particular job. Probably not, but that's okay. And then this is really key here, selecting the role. So we even provide you with a standard set of roles. So it's really quick and easy just to pick that lowest entry point, which is allowing your staff to come in and timesheet. It's worth noting that these roles can be configured and changed to suit you, but there they are. I then send off an invitation and we wait for that person to come in. Once they come in and accept their invite, they become a user and they're ready to go. So it's really, really simple. So those are my users set up. Happy with that. Next thing is getting my labor rates set up. Now, labor rates are literally what are my labor costs and what do I charge them out at? So it's as simple as coming in here and clicking add and filling it out. So in this case here, I've got one already set up, which is John Smith. So I'm saying that John Smith is in here. John Smith, my user. I pay John Smith $50 an hour. He's currently getting charged out at $85 an hour. Now, what that means is when John Smith adds time, it's going to automatically work out all of that calculations for us. I simply assign John Smith to that role, to that labor rate, sorry. Hit save. You'll notice that John Smith is now associated to that job done. So you just repeat that for every staff member, and you are now, or you've now given them access to be able to come in here, access those jobs, create their timesheets for all the appropriate rates. Now we're almost finished here on this setup stuff, really close now. One more thing, and it's just to show you some of the options that you have. In the settings, whenever a bill comes in that you want to mark up, you can come in here and define defaults for the system. Now, why that's important, it means that you're never ever going to put a bill in here and not have it marked up at least to a minimum amount. Now, for any job where you've got different markups or rates that you use, you can apply job-specific markups. So lots of flexibility on that. But I'm a really big fan of putting in these base level ones so that you never have anything slip through the cracks. Last thing is I want to get paid for all this work. So I come in here, I literally add up my logo. You literally browse for your logo, add it up. It then adds it into your email signatures as well, just to make sure that's all nicely covered. And then I come to my templates, and this is where I get to choose what goes into the header of my invoice. And I can come in and copy and paste anything I want into there. So again, you can make it look nice and friendly and flavored for your business. I also can come in here, and what's really important is in my footer is where you're going to put that money. So you can put that in at the bottom of the invoice. So we've now done everything that we need to get set up to run Cost Plus inside Next Minute. So Tim, do you reckon you could do that? Something along those lines?
I reckon I could do that, but nowhere near as well as you, and certainly not on a webinar. I think that's pretty impressive. And just a couple of observations. One is that connecting to your cloud accounting software is incredibly vital. And I think when apps do that incredibly well, as we've just seen, it brings everything into the same platform. And I think then you've got connectivity, then you're not re-entering information, then you're not having to go back and get a mistake or something like that. So I think that's really good. Well, a couple of other things. I assumed that you know, some of those templates, some of the obviously the markups, the charge out rates, all of that can be added in there as templates in your business if you've already got it. So when you go in there, it's about selecting, is that right?
Yeah, that's correct. And ongoing, as your business changes and moves, you might put your markups up for a new job. Yeah, you can adjust them as you go. So it's really flexible.
And I do love the fact that, in particular with the markup on materials and labor, that even if you put in a minimum and you made a mistake, you've done all right that time. And I think rather than leave it out and go, I'll think about that later, I'm not really sure whether I want that to be 25% or 35%. You've got something in there, and worst case scenario is you forget and you charge it out at the lower rate and you want it to be a bit higher. I think there's a few really, really good takeouts from there and look pretty simple to me.
Yeah, it is really simple. And I guess the last thing sort of before we shift on is, next minute, we're here to help you as part of that process. So there's always questions along the way, nuances with certain businesses, and we're more than happy to, take a call or run any training sessions that you need on that stuff. But it is very easy.
I do have a question. So if I use a current supplier and they have a price list,
yes,
can I upload that?
You absolutely can. So you may have more than one supplier. You can have a different import template per supplier. And what that means is you can have that as an ongoing, really easy to use system where they just send you the same template each time and you import it up. So you can continually refresh your materials list. Absolutely.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
Okay, so what have we done? We've got all our ingredients sorted out. As we've shown, they're really quite simple. And setting them up in next minute is a cinch, really. Now, this is the key part for me, and really where I'll be looking probably for Tim to shed a bit of light. But basically, this is the preparations all about setting up for success. So you get your barbecue, you make sure the gas bottle is full, you turn it on, you check that it works, and then you're ready. So it's about not missing that step of checking that it works before you actually go and chuck all your food on the barbecue. And I guess this is the really intimate and value-added services that the likes of bookkeeper and accountants and advisors can provide. And I really encourage you to help with some of these parts. And really for me, the key piece is around helping them get their bills into their accounting packages as quickly and as easily as possible. The reason for that is Next Minute has developed a unique import function. So this is for both Xero and MYOB. We can pull the bills that are already loaded in there directly into Next Minute, accrue them as job charges, and mark them up on the way through so that they can seamlessly connect into that job ready for invoicing. So that's something that is really, really important. And when I was thinking about this a little bit more is, so why would you do that? And really the key thing is think about the volumes. When you've got lots of bills coming in, and then think about what it means to miss a bill. Now, these are real costs and real pain points. And so for us, this is a unique proposition. We believe it's a game changer to really help that connected process all the way through. But I guess, Tim, from your perspective, I mean, you've done a lot of work in the receipt bank space and helping businesses get paperless. What does it mean to use these sorts of technologies to get the information piped through into a source such as MYOB or Xero?
I think it's incredibly vital. And I think the interesting thing about this is in a lot of cases, as the bookkeeper and accountant, you may already be working with your tradie or construction company without a third-party software such as Next Minute, using cloud accounting software using HubDoc or Receipt Bank. So what this does is it plugs Next Minute into a current process. So I think that is actually a real game changer, and it connects directly into Xero or My Bills. I think at the front end, if you're not using Receipt Bank or HubDoc, if you think about a builder, there's a number of industries, building, restaurants, a few of those that have lots and lots of bills and receipts. And the one thing I remember you talking about, Dave, is going to see a builder, I think it was in Auckland, and he jumped out of his ute and paper blew down the road.
Oh, his timesheets
So
flew down the road.
yeah. So it was either a timesheet or it was, you
Bills.
know, some rechargeable materials that he'd bought on the way, or we've all seen that they've got, you know, fistfuls of them. They're in the truck at the top. So what this does is it allows to streamline that process, and then it allows to seamlessly work with Next Minute. And I think that that's really, really cool. And I think from an advisor perspective, it's adding value into a current process, not asking them to do something else new in addition to. And I'm sure there's a lot out there that are probably running your job management software that doesn't connect to their cloud accounting software, and they're having to double enter stuff. And what happens then? Errors, mistakes, forget, all of that stuff. We've seen it a million times. So I think that's really good. And I will ask one question.
Yes.
In this space, who connects to Xero bills and MyOldBills?
Can you, sorry, say that again? Oh, sorry, right.
So,
no one else in the
job
job management software space is pulling Xero bills or MYOB essentials or account right bills directly back into the source jobs. And look, that's one of the reasons why we went down this pathway is we like to work alongside both our customers, obviously, but also our partners. And this was something that working alongside our partners, we uncovered that it really seemed like a no-brainer and a simple value add. When we say simple, it did take us a while to do it, but a really simple value add to something that's happening already that we can show that come all the way through. And I will go in and literally demonstrate how that actually works. And it is really simple. So
and the only comment I would make there is, the only comment I'll make there is, as advisors and wanting to add value to your customers, here's a really good value add, something that's unique to Next Minute and how it connects with their accounting software and or Receipt Bank and HubDoc. Great, game changer.
Yeah, and look, the key here is make a call and get something working consistently. Look, even if you start simple, that's fine, but it's really around getting something consistent that they're going to know how to do and continually do it, and that just makes life easier. So moving on to the method. Now, it's interesting with this one here is I did have easier than cooking a snarler, and then Tim asked me what a snarler was. I was like, that's a sausage. And he goes, well, that's easier than cooking a snag. I'm like, okay, snag, I get that. And as it turns out, I lived up in Canada and in the US for a wee bit. And they used to call, well, some of them call it as a tube steak. Now, I don't know if you're aware of that, but I think we'll stick to snag because I think that's the most relevant one. So throw a few snags on the barbecue. Now, look, with this stuff here is now this is like the doing piece. And this is really important that you do a bit of that hygiene stuff up front, because once you've done that, the rest just works beautifully. So again, I'm going to give you a quick overview, and then I'm going to jump in and give you a quick demo. So it's really important to make sure that all the staff have access, so that they've got their app, they've been invited in, and everything's set to go. Because once you've got that, they're away. I'm a big fan of ensuring that they're timesheeting daily, if not twice a day. And what that means is that just increases the accuracy and the speed or velocity in which you're getting information to be able to make decisions for the business. You're assigning the bills. For me, that's like turning the sausage. You don't just stick a sausage on a barbecue and let it cook. You literally have to turn it. And if you stand there and you look after it and you turn them, everything works out nicely. They're cooked evenly, and then you know when they're ready. So it's a really simple process. If you just keep that little uptick of things moving along, makes life really easy at the end. And at the end of that, literally, it's just about reviewing. So you're really getting the high value stuff, which is checking over things and making sure you've got all those little bits and pieces included. It's not about trying to enter it in there. It's already there. You're using your insights to now go, let's get that invoice out quickly and get on to the next job. So let me show you. So far, so good. That's working nicely. Excellent. Okay, there's two main parts to this, timesheeting and then the bills. So I'll focus on the timesheeting piece first. So once every user's got access, they literally come in, and on their mobile device, they will have a timesheeting app, which looks pretty much identical to that. And that allows them to go and timesheet against the jobs that they've been given access to. So they literally come in here and click on add. They can browse for any jobs. It's going to show the last job that they currently worked on. So I can select that. They can then put in the hours that they've done work. So it might have been 4 hours for that morning. Click on next. And then they could have been doing the decking. Really simple. And please don't pay me out for my Kiwi accent on that one. So that's putting all those timesheet entries in. So it's as simple as doing that. So if everybody's doing that every day, all of that information is going to pile in by user and by job. So you're kind of killing two birds with one stone. Now, just really quickly before I move on to this, from this, if you've got the appropriate access, you can always go in and access someone else's accounts if you're an admin to go and fix up a timesheet, enter it because they're away, make sure everything's looking good. So we do have the ability to really quickly and easily look at that. There's reports that go alongside this, and locking for like that hygiene, which is to put things away and ultimately have them locked away so that no one can make any changes. So that's the key component of timesheeting. And I mean, it's so simple. It's almost to try and show you it's really, really quick and easy. But I wanted just to show you that it is simple. It's meant to be, and the outcome is for the business owner. So it's good for the client, for the staff, really quick and easy. But for the person who's actually running those jobs, they can now see that information piping through in real time. So from a job perspective, I can now come in, click on the job, and I can view those charges accruing up in real time. Okay, so there's already been some timesheet entered, and there's that last entry there. So that's brilliant. So that's just all of that stuff is happening behind the scenes. All the calculations are done for me. When it's time to build it out, I know they're going to be sharp and crisp. So the next piece of the puzzle was around entering or pulling in your bills. Now there was a question which is, can you enter in bills directly inside Next Minute and sync them through into Xero or MYOB? So the answer is yes. So within here, you can come in here and add on the fly. That then creates what we call a supplier invoice or a bill. And you can get that, and that's going to add in as a charge. And you can sync that through into Xero so it sits there as a bill. Again, coming back to the value of being able to pull the source data rather than adding it. You know, it only takes one missed bill of that sort of magnitude, and that's a real painful mistake. So I am a bigger fan of being able to pull those bills across, and that's what I'm going to show you now. So all we do is we come down to here and we go supplier invoices. Okay, so this is going to open up all the invoices or bills that have already been pulled in. I click on add, and then I literally click on, in this case here, I've connected with Xero as we showed up front. That's going to go and pull through all the bills for the given time period I'm looking at that have yet to be accrued as charges against the job. I'll just give you a couple of sort of overview bits of information here. So one is you can come in here and filter that list based on date, bill reference, or supplier. So if you wanted to deal with a whole set of bill references that are the same, you can do that, or by supplier. So that's really useful. If you have bills come up into here that are, say, for a fuel bill or a phone bill, you can just come in here and click hide, and that will just hide them off. So you can kind of keep this nice and clear. But basically what we're looking to do here is take this bill and associate it to a job. So in this case here, it's got a reference of job 112. I've already got this set to create as actual charges. It's already got a default markup. I then select this. Let's say that wasn't selected, just to show you how quick and easy it is to actually find jobs. I could just come in here and type in 112. It's going to come and just give me my exact option. I select it, that one's sitting there. Great. Go on to the next one. So in this one here, 124 is the job I'm looking for. Job 124. There you are. Now, if for some reason you made a mistake, it's really easy just to cancel that out. But now my job is done. So I just import those. It's going to create both those sets of bills inside Next Minute. It's going to accrue up the charges directly against those jobs and attach those against the jobs. You'll now see that I've got no more bills to import. Brilliant. So my November bills are all sorted out. So that means I'm ready to do my invoicing for the start of this month. And that's a really, really simple way to get that done. And that's why I can't stress enough it's the value of getting those connected apps in to help extract that information and pull the bills directly in. So I can come into here now and I can view my charges. So really simple. Again, I've got those, got all my materials that have come through. Now, if I need to add in any other costs or disbursements along the way, I can. It's as simple as just adding them directly in here. I can also view this in another way, which is going to break it out more in a widescreen form if you prefer to look at it by date and by the invoices that have come through. So you can see the different invoices. There they are. So it's all neat and tidy. I guess the key point here is all the grunt work's been done. I know it's accurate. I know it's timely. So therefore, I've got a lot of confidence to get an invoice out off the back of that. Now, for one job, doing it manually, okay, fine. 2, 3, maybe. You're starting to run 3, 4, 5 jobs with 3, 4, 5 plus people. That's an absolute paper nightmare. So getting it sorted in here, as I've shown, is the way to go, and it really does help with getting those invoices out accurately and paid on time. So Tim, have you had any troubles with working alongside people who've sent out invoices with not enough timesheets on them, or invoices or bills, and then the customer comes back and says, well, I don't trust this invoice, so I don't want to pay it?
I think there's a lot of examples, and we've all been in that situation where we've engaged a tradie or a builder, and getting them to invoice you is often the hardest thing and the most challenging thing. And then often when it is done, it's wrong, and then you don't have confidence. This gives you the utmost confidence. I got a really interesting story when I joined the board. I was chatting to my nephew Nick, who's a builder, and I actually ended up introducing him to these to the guys at Next Minute for a couple of reasons. So his pain points were, it takes me a really, really long time to do a quote. Now his business isn't that complicated, but he's trying to grow it. And he had that because he was trying to scramble around getting all the material costs and didn't know the labor. And then I probed a little more and asked him, how was his business being run? He didn't have any cloud accounting software. Someone was doing his best for him. I don't know how. Payroll was done simply in somewhere to just do, to lodge it with STP. And timesheets were done on an email or a bit of paper. This is a young guy that wants to grow his business. And in a lot of cases, he didn't know what was available, nor did he have time to find it. So, and he was like, oh, could I have templates for my quoting? Yep. Could I have the invoice, the supplier material costs loaded in? Yeah, of course. Oh, wow, that would save me hours.
Yeah,
that's hours of him on the tools or him getting more work. So this is a young guy who's 30. It's really, it was a fascinating example for me, because it just again reminded me that you must never underestimate in anybody's business that they know all the things that will help streamline and automate it. And you as the advisors are often in the best position to give the best possible advice. Dave?
I couldn't agree more. I mean, being those trusted advisors inside these businesses, is you're seeing the inner workings and the pain all the time. And I guess that was where this was spawned from, is understanding that and trying to put this in a language and a tone that you can go off and have that conversation. You can go and ask them, do you have these things in order? No, oh, it's too hard. Or do you know how to cook a barbecue? Oh, yes. Okay, well, let me explain to you how this fits together. It's no different. And I think it's a good point that sometimes they're so busy caught up in the doing that they don't get a chance to step back and and deal with this stuff. So great opportunity, I guess, is the key thing here, to really go in there and help them. And for your businesses, it can help you grow businesses, find more clients, and get that stickiness to wrap around all the other services you're already doing.
Okay.
All right, so what have we done here? So we've got all our ingredients together. We've made sure the preparations were sorted, and we've now cooked it. Brilliant. So we didn't burn the sausages, and that's great. They're now sitting there. Now, don't blow it at this point. This is the key thing. It's just like, you're almost there. You're almost there. And so what does the customer? Well, the customer wants transparency and accuracy. That's the whole premise of the cost plus recipe for them. They want to know that those timesheets are in and accurate, and they want to see those bills as they come in and see the markup. So here's the kicker. If you can show them that quickly and accurately up front, you will get a satisfied customer and they will pay quicker. And that means you can get on to the next job, the next thing. And I guess that's the key, is that's what they want and that's what they expect. They're expecting bread, sausage, sauce. So don't give them something without the sausage or without the sauce. Give them the whole thing. I guess that's why I want to focus on now. So how do we get that information that we've collected, which is absolute gold? How do we get that out quickly? And I think I just wanted to touch on this last piece here, which is, I actually am not a big fan of dishes. I like cooking myself. And where I can, I'll make sure that I reuse stuff. Or in this case here, the bread is the plate. So at the end of all of this, when this invoice goes out, you don't have a pile of dishes. You don't have all of that sort of hangover stuff, which is, oh, now I've got to try and enter timesheets for payroll. Well, no, that's already done. Oh, now I need to try and get these bills across somewhere else and into them. No, that's done. So you don't have that wash up to do afterwards. Get on to the next thing. So it's a really positive experience. So without further ado, I will show you how that works now as well.
Yeah, I love your comment about a satisfied customer pays quicker. And one of the things we used to talk about in my bookkeeping practice is invoice quicker, get paid faster.
Yeah.
It's true. People think if you're getting a on-timely, accurate invoice, people trust you and they'll go ahead and pay it, generally speaking.
That's a really good point. Well, and it's fresh in your mind too, because you've just seen what's happened, or the work that's been done. So it's really relatable. Right. So within the next minute, as I said, we've got everything set up. Everyone's been doing their timesheets. Those bills have been accruing up. So now I can go across, and sorry, just before I head off there, you will see that you've got this unbilled. So that is the racking up amount that you are to bill out an invoice. So it's already showing you that there's stuff to be done, which is great. It's nice to see all the information piling up. So you then just come into your charges. Okay, so that's going to list all of those charges that have come in here already. And at any point, you can come in here and pick one or pick some to create an invoice from. But in this case here, we're going to go and grab all of these charges, which have been accrued last month. And I'm going to create an invoice for those. So I'm going to get all of those items. In this case here, I like to keep my invoice looking quite clean and simple. I'm going to combine them all into one section, a full amount. There's a whole lot of defaults that come in here around due dates and terms and conditions. But I'll just hit save. So literally within, 30 seconds, I've gone through and grabbed all of that data, collected it up, spun it into an invoice that I can now check over and get ready to send out to my client. It's going to have my logo in there. It's going to have all the key address information. It's going to have all my payment conditions. So it's all set to go. And I'm just going to go and correct that, which is very easy to do, which is just making sure that all my tax is right. So it's actually really interesting to show you that it had a warning to say something's not right. So I've now corrected that already. So here's my invoice. So this is all the detail that's gone into it. Now, what you choose to send to the client may be different to what you're seeing in here. I guess that's the beauty, is we now have options for that. So you can come in here and rename that section if you want. You can even add new sections and move, drag and drop these different components around. Ultimately, what you care about is what goes out from this and the amount of money that you're making along the way. So for each client, you can come in here and you can set up different options, which is, how do I want to show this information? So ultimately what you do is you can come in here, preview it. It's going to lay it out how you need to send it to that particular client. In this case here, I'm saying just give it to me as a one-liner with all the information below. It's going to have my logo. I can go, that's great. I can now get that and I can send that directly to my customer. Here's my happy customer. I can add in anyone else I want to copy in along the way. I go next. I can put in a nice friendly note along the way. I can even have templates, which is like this one has. I can then have send, and that's going to go and fire off that email straight through and going to sync it. In this case here, I don't want to sync it. So that's how quick and easy it is to create an invoice, get them done so that you can send that off. By the way, I'm not sending that through as to MYOB or Xero. And then that way you can get that invoice done. Brilliant. Go on to the next job and go on to the next job. And you'll see here, if I come back, I just go refresh, that I now no longer for this particular job have any unbilled work. I've created up my unbilled charges. I've created an invoice and I've sent that to the customer and sync that through to Xero. So then I can go on to the next one. Repeat. So it's really, really quick and easy to come in here when you trust that you've got the right setup done and your bills are all in there, that you can come in here. All you're doing is you're looking for exceptions. Here we go, another one. Here it is. Key information, create invoice, make it look how you want, send it off. Now, when you can do that on a regular basis, quickly and efficiently, as Tim pointed out, if you're making them look professional, all the information's accurate, you're increasing your chances of getting that thing paid rapidly. Every time an invoice gets questioned or queried, all you're doing is you're lagging your cash flow. So this is a really, really effective way to get that stuff moving and making sure that you do get paid on time. So have you got any tricks and tips with getting those invoices out? As a particular day that gets paid better, like a Tuesday, Tim, or do you like to get them done on a Friday? Was there anything you learned along the way?
I did learn that consistency was the key. So, you know, I think if you think about yourself, the worst thing that can happen is someone to save up a whole bunch of bills and then give them to you all at once and go, that's, oh, sorry, I forgot to bill you for the last few months. I've got to make a bit of catch up. So I think consistency is key. And what I really loved about that is a couple of things. So often we'll have a bill queried. What I saw there though was an unbelievable amount of information, the accuracy of all of that. So you've paid your people, you've cross-referenced the actual invoice because it's come through from Xero. You've got the payroll that will cross-reference the hours. So it's not a kind of a bit of a makeup or I think that was the amount of hours we did and I'll put that down and hope for the best. It's really accurate. So often then when somebody queries you, it's really easy to pull that information out very quickly and get back to them. That also instills confidence. That also shows you're on top of it and that you know exactly what you're doing. And if perchance, I'm not in the building game, I don't know how it works, but if you had to verify anything, I can see from that information that it would be very, very easy to do.
Actually, that's a really good point. I've had a customer example where he sent off his invoice like I did, which was just a summary line, which wrapped up all the charges and just had like, you know, $12,000. He got queried within, I think, 3 or 4 minutes. He just went and got that information, sent the same invoice, but opened it out. So it showed all the timesheet hours, all the bills and everything, and sent it through. And the person was just like, wow, can't believe you've managed to get another invoice back out to me in minutes for exactly the same amount, and you've given me all the detail. Thank you, that's awesome. So it's something that instills confidence in the customers because, you know, coming back to cost plus jobs, why are they going down this pathway? Because they want transparency, they want accuracy, they want to see progress and only pay for what is actually going on. And so that's really the key part to that bit. So to wrap this up, conscious of time here is, look, this is the next minute recipe, and we believe it's a 5-star recipe. So following, I mean, it's not 5 Michelin stars, obviously, that'd be really amazing. I don't think anyone's got 5 Michelin stars, but it's a 5-star recipe. It's really simple. Got simple ingredients, get them in, get them set up. get the right kit in place and make sure that everyone understands what's going on. Get everyone to do the doing, the method. Turn those sausages over, just keep watching them, keep it moving. And that's going to make sure that information's flowing. And then at the end of it, all you're doing is you're piping out and delivering professional invoices. And look, the whole game here is to never miss another dollar, never miss another bill. These builders, they deserve every dollar they get. It's a bloody hard job, and I really feel for them when they're missing out on stuff that they actually deserve. And too often they're quite nice guys or people as well, and they'll let it slide by. But it doesn't have to be that way, and it's just about making it simple for them to get it moving. Because once they get it going, they're all over it. So it's very, very well worthwhile. And so, for people who are attending this and anyone else who catches up on this particular webinar, and there's a few other sessions next week, is look, go and start a trial for a client. Invest 30, 40 minutes, get those basics set up. Again, those basics, we've got a handout for you that you can go and download, or even book some time with me, because there's no reason why your tradie clients can't be running cost plus jobs like a champ. And sometimes they just need a little bit of a push or a bit of a helping hand, because we want them to make more money, save time, and really just remove that admin stress. So yeah, go and have a yarn with your builder and tradie clients and help them understand that it's really simple, and maybe give them a little push in the right direction, because this is something of real value. It's going to lower that stress, that burden of admin, and make them more successful businesses where everybody wins. That's a great outcome. Now, there are a few questions here that I'll just deal with before we wrap up. So one of the questions was, so David, you've mentioned builders and tradies a lot. Does this work for any other sort of businesses or industries? Short answer is yes. We've actually recently had a lot of cabinet makers come on board as an example. I didn't realize there's such a big group of cabinet makers. I think there's an outfit in Australia where there's members of 2,000 plus cabinet makers. They've got a little community. Works amazing for them. And in fact, the guy there he's gone and published this out through their forum, because he said it's just great. Other ones are like landscapers, another really good one, and even some professional services like architects. It's the same common elements. As I say, you strip it back. It's a job, time, bills, put it together, invoice. And so it definitely works for them. Another question here around, do we do fixed price jobs? Absolutely. So you can be running within Next Minute a combination of fixed price jobs, cost plus jobs, or even labor only jobs. So you might have seen me at the start where I select the different type. That way you can sort of silo off your approaches to those different jobs, and obviously invoice them out in the way in which that you need to go and seek your funds for. Obviously, fixed price job is for a contract. And lastly, so before we wrap up, it's just one more questions around timesheets. I think actually Tim touched on this. The question is, do you integrate with any payroll? So the answer is yes. With our timesheets, we can sync those timesheets electronically through into Xero Payroll and MYOB Payroll. Over time, we will look at others, but those are the two that are the most, it was the easiest connection points for us given our other integrations. So we do push it across. Plus, we have reports that can help you distill that information anyway if you need to get it into another payroll software. Look, this has been really good. I can't believe how fast the time's gone. As I mentioned, we're here to help Next Minute, help you understand more about what we do. Obviously, there's a lot of other things that we do, but if we really just honed it on this session today around that cost plus, look, I think we're an amazing fit for any business that's got to do that. And we'd love to hear from you. Feel free to contact me directly. In the handout, you've got an opportunity to book a demo with me. We're actually going and find some more information out. And Tim, thank you so much for all your valuable insights. It's been a pleasure again having you on board. Not sure if you've got any other final tidbits of information to send out to the group here, but I'll let you have one of the final words if you like to wrap it up.
Thanks. Thanks for inviting me along. I had the easy job. I sat here most of the time and listened, observed, and just made a few comments, which was very enjoyable because often I'm the one doing all the talking. So it's nice to be in a different spot. I think I'll just go back to the challenges of the last year or the last 9 months. I think that's put the spotlight on is how organized a business needs to be. No matter what that business is, but if you look at the building and construction and you look at the challenges that they've got, and in some cases they may be getting busier over that period. Some may not be, but some may be getting busier. So the better organized they are, the closer that they've got, they're working with their bookkeeper or their accountant, and the one single source of truth that they have about their business, the better position they're in. And I think what I've seen today, and I'm very biased because I am on the board, but what I've seen today is a real game changer, and it's a really, really great job management software. And it ticks a lot of boxes, and in particular, how it connects into Xero and MyOb for that seamless integration and reduction of errors in rekeying or transmitting information. So I think, as a small business advisor, anything you can bring to the table for your trades and construction businesses now is going to put them in great stead in the future, because you just don't know what challenges they might be having or have had, and this could be just the answer they need. And thanks again, Dave.
Brilliant. Thanks a lot, everybody, for joining in, and I look forward to hearing from you again soon. So from Next Minute, thank you and goodbye.